We are rolling on Play It Forward with Lou Klein, filmmaker, writer, director. Lou, thank you for being here today.
Thanks for having me, man. This is great. I'm overjoyed to be here. So thank you so much.
It is a pleasure, a man of a lot of experience. We're going to be talking about Star Wars Crossroads of Destiny. And before we do, Lou, would you like to introduce yourself or the film in any way?
Yeah, I want to introduce my film. It's Star Wars Crossroads of Destiny. I worked on it about almost 14 years ago. And this is a film that I actually wanted to show George. A lot of people call it fan films. I did it at the time as what I thought would be like considered a pilot, to show George that you can use a live action way before Kenobi, way before Mandalorian. I'm not taking credit for that. I'm just saying, hey, look, I was there in the beginning. So here we go. Do I look like Guillermo del Toro?
I I don't know. I am not as into that fan kind of culture as
Yeah.
you clearly are, but hey, maybe some viewers are. And you got invited to George Lucas's like studio, and this film, as we were talking earlier, is ridiculous in terms of the quality for 14 years ago. I mean, it's like you got guys jumping around. I mean, it's professional people, professional crew. Um, I gotta ask you the first question, Lou, of Play It Forward is what in your heart inspired you to make that film 14 years ago? Why that film? Why that subject? What did you want to explore? What was the draw?
Well, I think in all filmmakers, you want to have a story to tell that has a little bit of a heart, or not more than a little bit, but a lot of heart. And the reality is that I was sitting at the dinner table. This is true, and I had just finished Contract of Evil. That was my first Star Wars movie, and my son looked at me and said, "Papa, I want to be in a movie with you." And I said, "I tell you what, you start the script, and we'll finish the movie." And it was supposed to be like a family movie at the time. It was one of those things where we're going to go out there with my wife and everything and play, have fun in the forest. And I kid you not, my 6-year-old son, I still have the pages, wrote like 8 pages of the script called Children of the Force. This is way back then. This is no joke. And so I was so inspired by that. I took the pages and redid it in a script format in final draft. And then I started realizing there's something to this. There's a heart here. There's a sentiment of family here, within the Jedi Order that I felt was never seen before. So I started calling my colleagues. I started calling my friends in the film business. And yes, I had a lot of friends that were just, I don't want to say, I hate the word B actor because that's unfair. I want to say people who are fighting the fight, struggling, grinding, doing what they can to get in front of that camera, auditioning, taking the chances. And these wonderful people came out and said, "Yes, I love your stuff. I want to be part of your films. I know it's going to be great." So Orlando McGuire played my Sith abomination. I wanted to bring that to light, and believe it or not, the creature suit is from a movie called Creature Unknown. I worked on that film a long time ago, and I was the creature. And so they wanted to do a couple of days pickup shots, and I said, "Well, you can't pay me, so I'll tell you what. You just give me this suit, and I'll accept that as payment." They said, "Deal." So I did the pickup shots, and kid you not, the actual FX guy was like, "Okay, we'll take it off you now." I was like, "Nope, nope." I got in my car just because I wanted to make sure I got the suit, and I drove home with it. That is a bona fide fact. So I called my friend Mark Lynn, and I said, "Listen, I got this idea, and you're the only guy that could sculpt this stuff." And we started to work. We started to work. We started going to work, and I think it took about a year and a half, but we made it happen. My ex-wife at the time, I designed everything, and she actually created the costumes for me. And my friend Mark Lynn repainted the suit. We did all the FX in house, and I don't know if you saw the pictures, but that was my wife's clothing store at the time that we kind of invaded for a little time and created this little wonderful piece. And again, at the time, I didn't understand what a fan film was. I wanted to show George the progression because Star Trek went from TV to film. So at the time, 14 years ago, I was thinking, well, that's only a natural progression for any production company to go from film to TV. So I wanted to show George you can actually do this live action for an effective budget, not so much money. Like I think Kenobi's 25 million an episode. That to me sounds a little bit high, but who am I? I think I shot my movie, what you saw, for like $14,000. No joke. $14,000. And that was calling some favors, but who does it in the film business? So yeah, and I actually won an award for it. Should I show him the award?
Show him the award, Lou.
I'm really proud of this. Kevin Spacey gave this to me. Freaked me out. And he was a gentleman, by the way. And they called me down to San Diego. They said, "Hey, we're gonna show your film." 5,000 people. It was crazy. I was like, well, I never thought I saw so many people in my life. 5,000 people in one room. And when they saw the movie, everybody was like super excited. You got to understand, this is 14 years ago when you barely are watching the special editions of Star Wars. And they saw my movie and they're like, this is like a Star Wars movie, because I wanted to. And in fact, if any of your viewers see it, all I ask is one thing: please watch it with the best surround sound. My friend Christopher Getman, who was an up and coming sound designer at the time, said, "Look, I really want the job, and can I do things?" I said, "Yeah, just immerse the people, like immerse them in all the whole kind of like Star Wars kind of ideology, with all the creatures going by and the little sound effects, that you would get in a Star Wars movie." So I really accepted this award, not just on my behalf, but on behalf of the entire team. And I told them that too. And we've all had bidding wars to see who gets it for the next year. But this was the amazing trophy they gave me, and I hope you guys all see it. Yeah, it's 3PO holding a soda, and R2. Oh, R2 is holding the soda, and 3PO is holding the popcorn. There you go. So
Beautiful.
Amazing.
Beautiful.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
A lot of wonderful people.
Beautiful, Lou. So the next question on Play It Forward is, in retrospect, all these years, the script, the heart that you talked about, which was the inspiration, the connection with your son, the connection with your own passion and love for Star Wars. What is the message of this film as you see it today?
The message is, it's the lessons we take in life. And I think Shaq T said it perfectly. When the little Padawan character says, even if the lessons were bad, and she looks at him and says, truly, there are no bad lessons. It's only how we view them. And that kind of is an allude back to Alec Guinness, and when he says, well, in a certain point of view, and I think that that's a motif in the Star Wars galaxy. It's how we look at things in life, and I've learned along the way, it's been a long journey, that life is about a lesson of how we view things. And sometimes we have to step out of ourselves and look at the other person's point of view so we can have a better understanding of the humanity. We may agree, we may not agree. We may share the same faith, we may share the same ideas, we might not, but it's okay because it's their point of view, and I have to respect it and want to respect it. As a human being, I think that's imperative for us as a society. Just to get along. I mean, just imagine on a production, you can have from 40 to 90 people working 6 months to a year. Unless you're in a Stanley Kubrick movie, you're working 2 years. And you have to really, really understand, hey, this person's having a bad day, or hey, this person's like, I did a movie with Daisy Torme and Mel Torme's daughter, and it was a little vampire movie with Adam West, and he was great, and I remember the day she came to set, and her father had just gone into the emergency room, and it was shocking, because she was like, listen, I can't do nothing but sit by, and he's unconscious, so let's keep rolling. And I was so inspired by that. I was like, wow, that's amazing. I mean, but she was, between takes, she would have her moments, and she'd gather herself and go back to work. So yeah. Oh, I see we only have 9 minutes. Okay.
It's good. So, it's all right, Lee. Don't let the time freak you out. There's also a big theme with a spiritual theme, which Star Wars has embedded in it, this theme of never swaying from the path of light. And then, what is the path of light? And once you're one with the Force, you'll see there's no ignorance, only knowledge. There's this very Zen, mystical aspect to, of course, Star Wars, as you know, and this long history of all the major traditional religions talk about being one with some great force, and the ignorance being dispelled. And then I'll just add, there is no emotion, only peace. There's no desire, only serenity. There's no death,
Only
only
three. Only
force.
the force. Yeah.
So, this is a Buddhist, Hindu, um, traditional motif, especially when we call up the nature of bringing serenity.
A
Uh,
philosophy into it. Yeah,
well,
definitely.
not just the philosophy, but when we're talking about the lack of desire and the lack of emotion and being in a state of union, we're talking about, transmigrating or going beyond the soul, the individual form into the formless, and that being a traditional Vedic Hindu philosophy. So what are your thoughts on that, and how does that resonate with you as part of the motif of the movie?
I think Yoda said it best, when he said, you know, when he was like talking about crude matter, he said, luminous beings are we. He really meant it. I think Yoda was the actual beginning philosophy of Star Wars. And it really is something that resonates me in the film business. I really use that also, as well as I would rather hear it from a little green Yoda, rather than trying to have someone preach to me, and it's weird that way, but you can hear that. And I think Star Wars utilizes that motif and saying, hey, look, when all is said and done, when we go meet the great creator, when we're all finished on, we have to remember that it's kind of like in all the movies, we are here to make a choice. Do you want to be negative or do you want to be positive? Do you want to see the bad side of life and all the drama that goes with it? Or do you want to see the goodness in people? And I choose, because of Star Wars and because of my religion, you know to see the light in people, and to have the hope and the desire that we as humanity can watch films like this and be inspired by that. I know like yourselves and some of your viewers and fans, Star Wars was the key when we were children that led us to believe that there was more to this earth, that there was a galaxy far, far away, that there was something else out there. And there were these people that were struggling, but because they united, because they bonded together, because they held true to their beliefs, they succeeded, you know. And I think that I take that methodology with the filmmaking that I believe in as well, is that I want to put that into my stories. I want people to know that, and I don't want to preach to people ever. I want to just share with them my concepts and my philosophies, and I can hope and pray that they see it and hear it and like it enough to watch it again. So
It's
that's
beautiful, beautiful, man, beautiful, Lou. Last question: since making this movie, how have you personally been changed?
I think anytime you make a movie with this huge endeavor, you realize you are more than what you thought was before. You almost transcend, because you as an individual, when you have a blank piece of paper in front of you and you're writing all these words and all these things are happening in your mind, you're seeing the shots and you're going, okay, I can do this, I can do this. Wait a minute, how do I do this? Okay, all right, so how do we do this? And then you get feedback, and then what's going on over here? Okay, what about this? Oh my gosh, you start realizing there's a village of people that unite together, and if you have a clear idea and a clear vision, those people will unite behind you and rally you, even on your hardest day. Like on set, I slipped into the screen. I slipped into the stream. There was a stream we were shooting, and I slipped right into it, and I got all wet, and I was mad. And they were like, "Don't worry about it. Go to the trailer and change. We got you. We'll do this shot. We're going to show you we got this." And I was like, "Wow!" Like, again, it's you you realize there's more to life when you're surrounded by wonderful people that have the same like-minded set. And that really happens on a film. You become a family, a brotherhood, a sisterhood. I a lot of people tell me I've given them their first job. I'm like, I didn't give you your first job. I mean, well, I gave you your first job, but I didn't discover you. You did the work. I just recognized the talent and said, please work with me. And so I look at things that way. I think it's I've taken on a bigger responsibility to tell a better story. Like we talked about before, had I had the chance and the technology to do it today, come on, man. You know, I mean, you can use a DSLR camera and you can shoot 4K, 2K now. I was using a Panasonic AGX 100 14 years ago. Digitapes was 720p, and it looks incredible. And only because, again, through color correction and things like that, we've had some amazing people. Oh, by the way, one of the guys is Ryan versus Dorkman. Those two guys, hi Ryan Weber, hi Mike. Those guys did all my lightsabers for me. So those guys were great fans that came out and started helping out. And so again, I just, I'm so thankful. That's how it changed me. I'm so overwhelmed and so overjoyed that this happened with a bunch of wonderful folks. That's how I can say it.
Lou Klein, it was a pleasure, an honor, a joy to have you on the show. Thank you for being here, man, and
I
thank you for doing
appreciate you,
what you
man.
do.
Can we
Thank
talk
you.
about my next project though, real quick?
Take it away,
So,
Lou.
so here I go again. I did a three-part miniseries. I call it Project Nameless. And I believe it's Marvel Comics or Marvel Studios' answer to The Mandalorian. It's a proof of concept. I want to share the trailer with your audience, and I
We'll
want
do
the
it.
audience to vote. Because now here's the deal, and again, it may look again like a fan film, but it's not. It's my pitch to the studio, but we shot it at the height of the pandemic when the world shut down. My friend called me and was like, what are you gonna do? And I said, I'm gonna have a heart attack. I can tell you right now. And I said, no, let's do what we always done. We've rallied, we came together, and we made it happen. I've got 3 1-hour episodes, all shot, all ready to view. And I have your favorite Canadian knucklehead as the main character. So I'm hoping that kind of leaves a little suspense, surprise, and like Stan Lee said way back in the day, if you have an idea, share it with the world. Excelsior! There you
Thank you,
go.
Lou. That sounds
Thank you so
awesome.
much.
Thank you, Lou. All right, till next time, everybody, play it forward. Peace.